Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today I want to recommend a first appearance in the CGC 9.8 that, to be honest, up until about 20 hours ago, I did not know about this one at all. Yeah, and just sort of doing my normal CGC 9.8 searches on eBay, I came across this one, and just no one ever talks about it, but I think it's a pretty decent speculation for sure in the 9.8, a great first appearance to consider. And I think there's a big movie studio out there we all know and love that might have a lot of reasons to want to use this character as well, and we'll get into some of those details. But for this one, I was so kind of compelled that I ended up getting out there and buying a CGC 9.8 this morning. Yeah, there's one in Canada for a decent price, so I ended up making a deal. So let's just get right into it here. Yeah, I was just kind of in Canada at the right price, a brand I really love. So yeah, we'll get into all the details here. So the book I want to recommend, so much so I ended up getting out there and buying one, is a Star Wars number 88. This is the first appearance of Lumia. So I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Lumia. Maybe the I's silent, it might be Lumia. But you can think of Lumia as the female Darth Vader, basically. Yeah, pretty great looking cover on this one. Star Wars 88. So in the CGC 9.8, there's only 50 of them out there. So not too bad a collector item at all. A 1 of 50 collector item of kind of the first female Darth Vader. That is kind of cool, I think. It's 43.1% the CGC 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, 43.1% of them are 9.8s. Nothing to really write home about there. This is an underfollowed book, so yeah, nobody really talks about it. And yeah, it's more about the just the 1 of 50 9.8 out there in this first appearance of Lumia. So we'll get into some of the reasons I think why the studio I was talking about is MCU, like the Marvel Studios. I think if they ever wanted to bring in a female Darth Vader, I think is absolutely doable. But really quick, let's talk about the prices I paid for the 9.8 just this morning here in the last couple hours. Did break it down into 3 reasons too why I think this is a great speculation, investment, whatever you want to call it, in the 9.8. But for pricing, I ended up making a deal for $130, and it was in Canada, so decent shipping. Talking about US dollars too here, just to, that's what we always just talk US dollars, so just to keep it simple. So $130 for this one, a Star Wars 88 in the CGC 9.8. Looking pretty great. The centering was looking pretty awesome too. So pretty high hopes that this is a really nice looking CGC 9.8 new case for $130. He had it for $149.99 or best offer, and ended up coming. Yeah, basically he offered me back something, and then this was his last offer, saying this is the lowest he could go. So $130. On eBay completed listings for this one, I did see one sell for $149.99. Buy it now. So, decent when you can get a 1 of 50 in the 9.8 for maybe a little bit less than what one already sold for. So I view it as a win. Maybe you could get a little bit of a better deal on this one in an auction if you were just super patient, maybe closer to $100, but I mean, it is, no one really is talking about this one. It is very underfollowed, but still one that I think has some potential. Yeah, and if we talk about Lumia's origin a little bit quick before we get into the 3 reasons, she was kind of like Darth Vader's spy, you could think of, and she was actually injured on a mission, and Darth Vader rescued her and rehabilitated her sort of with some of the mechanical things like Darth Vader has, so that's why she really truly is like a female Darth Vader. And then after that, he trained her in the Sith arts, I guess, with the dark side of the Force. So truly a female Darth Vader. And yeah, well, let's get into the 3 reasons here, because I do want to touch on why I think that in the MCU, this could be cool. She could look really cool on the MCU, and that's actually my first reason here. Just having a lady Darth Vader on the big screen, I think would be really cool. Another thing too, she has I think it's a light whip it's called or something. So instead of a lightsaber, a light whip. Imagining just how the MCU, visual effects guys doing a light whip would just be amazing, I think. That would just be so cool. A Lady Darth Vader would just be really cool. So yeah, I mean, this is one where I grab, you know, a first appearance for $130 in the 9.8. Star Wars books are pretty hot right now. Like, I just think this is one of the better first appearances to maybe speculate on, because yeah, it makes a lot of sense that yeah, a Lumia could look really cool on an MCU movie, an MCU Star Wars movie. So the second reason here is just focusing on the 1 of 50 there. That is a really cool collector item. If any of these promo movie rumors ever started to heat up at all, you know, more of these would probably become graded, and, you know, it'd probably get up to 100 in the 9.8 pretty fast, but there's still not a lot of these. And again, with only 50 out there right now at the 130 price, that made sense for me, I think. And the third reason there, talking about that reasonable price, yeah, I think there are a lot of Star Wars books right now, especially kind of some of the modern ones, really heating up now in the 9.8. They're quite limited in the 9.8 as well, especially some of the Dark Horse modern Star Wars comics were pretty low printed, so in the 9.8 they're pretty scarce. So those are great, but really expensive, some of them in the 9.8 for good reason. This one, still pretty limited. From the older original Star Wars run there, number 88. So, yeah, I just think given some of those modern Star Wars books, like this one, right around 100, let's call it under 150 if you can make a deal for it out there. I think, yeah, it just makes sense right now as an affordable Star Wars book. And yeah, Lumia, hopefully it's Lumia. It might be Lumia, but she looks pretty cool. Yeah, I think just her look in general would look really cool on an MCU movie. You know, usually the Marvel MCU Star Wars movies, the visual effects wise, they're like flawless almost. So, you know, with that light whip, like she doesn't have a lightsaber, she has a light whip. I mean, lots of potential there, I think. And if anything though, you know, I always say, you know, you don't really want to buy a comic because a movie's coming out or anything like that. I just think I got my big Star Wars keys up here in the 9.8. I just love my Star Wars comics, and this one was just, hey, you got a first appearance of kind of the Lady Darth Vader for a decent price in the highest grade you can kind of possibly get. I think that was a pretty good deal, right around 130. So yeah, this is kind of a buy it now recommend video too, and also you just kind of wanted to let you know what I'm buying and things like that. But this one I do kind of recommend to get out there and buy, because I think it's one you can enjoy, and there's a lot of potential that, yeah, like, you know, Marvel just bought the Lucasfilm Star Wars about, you know, was it 5 years ago now? So really in the next 20 to 30 years, there is just going to be continuous Star Wars movies, much like, you know, Disney bought Marvel. It was like 10, maybe over 10 years ago now. And then since then, continuous Marvel movies. So very similar thing is going to happen with Star Wars, and maybe they'll use Lumia. Yeah, or maybe they'll use Lumia. And I think she could be really cool on the big screen. The light whip was one of the things that kind of sold me on it. I was just like, wow, that would look so cool with you know, the MCU big budget with the light whip. And I mean, a female Darth Vader would just be really cool. And it makes sense. And so from so many perspectives, like movie studios are going with the female characters, and yeah, it just makes sense from so many perspectives. And this one's still cheap right now in the 9.8. So yeah, kind of made sense for me again. All right, we'll wrap it up there though. If you haven't already, I would invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Yeah, I'd love to have you on our comic book collecting and comic book investing team. Hit the bell for all the latest video notifications, and add me on Instagram and Twitter as well. If you have any messages for me too, message me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, is on Instagram. But just, yeah, loving all the conversations. And yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Star Wars 88, one to consider for the price in the 9.8. A really cool, if you're a Star Wars fan, one to consider, absolutely. So yeah, wanted to kind of make its own video here and recommend it. Thanks again for watching. Really appreciate all the support once again. And yeah, thanks again. I'll see you on the next one.